Friends, welcome back to GM Philosophy in the Morning. I'm the GM Philosopher. Today we are talking about how to create a specific character arc that you can put into your game to help you give your druid a personal character arc. This is a class-specific character arc that I'm going to come up with on the fly. I literally am sitting down right now. I don't even have my sunglasses on. This is how unprepared I am because I left them at work earlier, so I don't have them, and I couldn't find my backup pair. So you know what? We're going eye to eye on this one. I do not know what I'm going to do. This is the Druid class, and I'm going to show you not only how I create personal plot arcs, just boom, using my instincts, using my creativity, but then I'm going to show you how to deploy my 8-step player character arc framework. This is the framework I've back engineered. This is the framework I always use when I put personal plot arcs in. And I always try to have one of these going for each player at my table all the time. And today we're talking about what I would do specifically for a druid. I love druids. I love the animal companion aspect of druids. I love the nature aspect of druids. They are some of my favorite player characters. Some of the best player characters I've ever had at my table have run druids. Love it. And so today I'm very excited about this. I'm going to create one for you in this session so you can not only see how I do it, but maybe you can even borrow this, put elements of it in your campaign if you would like to. So boom, whatever. Now the first thing you're going to want to do so you can follow along with me is you're going to want to download my 8-step player character arc framework PDF. This is free. You can find the link in the description. It's just my Google Drive. You click on it, you can read it, you can download it if you want. Boom, no problem. But this might help you to follow along. So make sure you grab that because I'm going to reference all 8 of these steps during this video. So let's get into it right now with step number 1, the initial point of contact. Introduce the arc subject in a meaningful, intriguing way. By the way, I want to let you know I'm going through all of the classes. I've already done the Bard, the Barbarian, and the Cleric, but I'm going through the whole list of classes, and you can find the playlist here. I'm putting all these videos in a playlist. So if you want to watch all of them, boom, there we go. Druid is next in the line. So first we need our initial point of contact. Now I just want to let you know, you can never force a player character to go down a specific arc. So I always throw these out lots. Like I'll throw out 5, 6, 7 points of contact that could turn into a personal arc. And then I wait until the druid bites on one. So boom, when the druid bites on one, I know, okay, they're interested in this. Let's develop it a little further. So I'm just going to go off the top of my head. One potential point of contact I might use to start an arc for a druid, and that's going to be an animal. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking a bat. I don't know why, but I'm thinking like kind of a little bat. Like a little bat. One night, I'm going to have like maybe the player characters are camping, maybe they're in a village, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But one night, this is how it's going to start. Randomly. The druid, I'm going to say, hey, druid, roll me a quick perception check. Just roll. I'm going to have them roll it. I don't like using passive perception for these things. I like to have them roll perception. I kind of think passive perception is a little weird. Sometimes it ruins the win for players, actually. But anyway, whatever. So I'm going to have them roll, and if they roll good enough, which will probably be pretty much unless they fumble, they're going to notice that fluttering above them, directly above them, is some kind of creature. It's just zoop, 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 zipping around. And it seems to like kind of zip to a place and then like zip over here, but it's maintaining a very relative close distance to the druid. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, you just noticed that. You notice that that's happening, right? I'm just going to say that. Now, I'm not going to do anything else, but if I know most player characters, they're going to like investigate further. They're going to be like, oh, I'm going to roll a nature check or something, right? So if they roll a nature check or something like that, I'm going to say, you determine pretty easily that it seems to be a bat. It is fluttering over you. It seems to be staying in your very near vicinity. And this is a little suspicious. I will say that with your knowledge of creatures, this is a little suspicious. Now, with this just little bit of information, we're moving into step 2. So step 1 is initial point of contact. Step 2 is emotional attachment, seed the bond, okay? Design moments that evoke curiosity, empathy, admiration, or wonder. This is what we're trying to do. So I'm notice that when I say it's a little suspicious, the bat is staying very close to you, right? This could be interpreted a lot of different ways. The druid might think, oh, someone's spying on us. Or the druid may think, oh, this is a strange, nefarious behavior. Maybe this isn't a bat. Maybe this is like a polymorphed dragon, right? Or whatever, But the the fact is if I can get curiosity to go up to a certain point, the druid's going to buy in. They're going to buy in. And that's what I want. I want them to buy into a personal plot arc. And so that's how this is going to start. Now, at this point, I don't know what the player character is going to do, but it doesn't matter because I know what is going to happen next. What's going to happen next is at some point, that bat is going to come down. I would prefer the player character to lure it down. Like maybe the player character is going to say, I'm going to try to like attract it to me. I'm going to like get an insect and say, hey, here, little bat, or whatever, right? But I want them to take the initiative and make the action that'll draw this in. But even if they don't, this is what I'm going to have happen. Eventually, the bat's going to fly down and they're going to hear a little plop, right? And what they're going to do is I'm going to say, you look down. You see that right on your chest. It's a little bat. It just fell from the sky and clung to you. It's like, it's no bigger than a large mouse. It's not like as big as a rat. It's like a mouse, but not a teeny tiny mouse, like a medium-sized mouse with little bat wings, and it's clinging onto you. And when it looks up at you, roll me an insight check. This is what I'm going to do, okay? And when they roll the insight check, I'm going to say, you look into this bat's black eyes. You see, well, first of all, you see, you're pretty sure it's blind, which bats are. You're pretty sure it's blind. So it seems to be looking kind of in the direction of your face. Maybe that's what, maybe it heard you speak from that direction or something, but it's looking at you and you notice an emotion on this creature's face. What is the emotion? You notice sadness and fear. And only you would know this because you're a druid, right? So you've been around so many animals. You understand animals so deeply. And there's something about the demeanor of this creature that is appealing to your emotions, your sympathies. Now, real quick, before we move on, I just want to let you know that I have a free ebook that I give out to help further the goal of this channel, which is to empower game masters to run better games. It's called the 10-Minute GM Mastery Kit. In this ebook, I pack the 10 most powerful lessons I've learned in over 20 years of running games into a 10-minute read to help you level up your next session by levels and levels you cannot lose. This is a free download, and I offer it just to help further the goal of the channel to help you run better games. So grab that. Links in the description. You cannot miss it. Who knows? With a 10-minute read, you may be able to level up your next session in ways you didn't even think about before. So make sure to grab that. Now, let's dive back into the video. Now, obviously, I like to word it like this. There's something about this creature's look that's kind of appealing to your sympathies. Now, it's up to you, whether you actually feel sympathy for it or not. I'm just saying that there's the temptation coming from this creature's little face. It's tempting you to think, what an adorable, cute little creature, right? Now, see, that's the thing. We don't want to try to steer the players. We don't want to try to say, oh, you feel this for sure. What I like to say is you're tempted to feel this because I want to give the player control over how their character actually feels ultimately, unless they're feeling like intense pain or something that can't be controlled. If it's inner feelings or inner workings of their emotions, I like to give the player control over that. So that's how I run that, right? But we're still in step 2, emotional attachment, see the bond. I want to design moments that evoke curiosity, empathy, admiration, or wonder. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get this character interested. Like, what's going on with this bat? And I'm going to tell you right now, this is off the cuff. I don't have the scripted out, but I'm giving it a 94% chance that whatever druid I launch this particular character arc on, I'll bet you it's going to hook. I'll bet they're going to bite because there's something about this that's really emotionally evocative. And what it is it's that empathy for the cute little creature that could be helpful. That's what it is. That's the magic in this one. So step 3 is conflict, but we're not going to go there quite yet. Now we're going to pause. We're going to pause the arc, not pause the video, not pause the play, nothing like that. It's just the bat is clinging to their chest. I don't know what the player character is going to do. The bat is done taking actions right now. It's just going to react to what the player does. I'm going to let the player take the lead now. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to try to put it in a cage. Maybe they're going to try to feed it. Maybe they're going to try to talk. They're going to cast Speak with Animals and talk to it. Whatever it is. I think is a high likelihood they're going to cast Speak with Animals and talk to it. So I think that we're going to move into the conflict phase. once they start to speak with it, okay? So what is going to happen when the druid casts speak with animals? So here's what's going to happen. When they cast speak with animals, they're going to talk to this little bat. And the bat is going to say, basically, are you a friend? Like, that's going to be like the vibe, the kind of question they're asking. And I don't know what the player character is going to say, but that's going to be their kind of initial question. And then they're going to say, I don't have any friends. I don't have any family anymore. And then if the druid asks why or what happened, which they probably will, the little bat's going to say, there's a creature in these woods. There are probably woods nearby of some kind. There's a creature in these woods with eyes that glow like the sun, but only at night. And there's a blue light wherever it walks. It has sharp claws and razor teeth. It came upon our nest, me and my siblings, all 17 of us, and my mother, who was caring for us. She had brought us small river flies to eat. But this creature came upon us so fast. With 2 swipes of its claws, 4 of my siblings were gone. I didn't know what to do. My mother shrieked and attacked the thing. And the last thing I remember seeing was her flying around its face, shouting to us to run. I didn't hesitate. I turned and I flapped my wings and I left. But as I was leaving, all I could hear were the shrieks and cries of my brothers and sisters. This was just an hour ago. I fear that they're all gone. And then they'll see the little bat, a little tear run down its face. And then it'll just cling to their chest. And it'll say, I don't know what to do. Okay. Now, already, if you've watched my other class arc videos, you'll notice that those were basically built on a longer timeline. This one's being built on a super fast timeline. And I didn't plan this. This is just how things go sometimes. The conflict has already been introduced. This little bat lost its family, okay? Step 3, the conflict step, says disrupt harmony, introduce challenge, ambiguity, or threat, okay? So now there's this knowledge of this creature. Now, right here, I have created a split path. The player characters may decide not to do anything about it, or the druid may decide to do something about it. In either case, I've already decided that they're going to encounter this enemy, this creature that massacred the bats is going to be coming after them. Why? Because it hunts these woods, because it hunts this area, because it has a domain here. What is it? I actually have no idea what it is, because I just sat down to make this, and this is how my plot arcs go, and I have to explain this to you. I do not plan out necessarily from beginning to end what plot arcs are going to do. A lot of times I run them with a sort of like, I improvise them, but I lead from what the players do. I let the players lead, and then I try to improvise things that heighten drama, that heighten intensity, and they're going to emotionally grab. And a lot of it is improvised because if I try to pre-plan everything, and then I try to slam the story into that box, it feels weird. It feels forced. I don't want that to feel forced. I want the drama to feel natural and like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like, that's what I want it to feel like, right? But I want it to feel also believable. It's so hard to pre-plan that. You can pre-plan some things. You can pre-plan some details. Like, if you know what the creature is beforehand, you can plan out what the bat will describe that the attack looked like. But I don't usually go that route. I'm going to be honest. I don't usually go that route because I don't even know. Like, what if I planned this whole arc and then I pitched it to my characters and they didn't bite? Do you know how many hours I would spend planning arcs if that's how I operated? That's why I only plan initial points of contact. And then if they bite on them, boom, now I have an arc. Now I'll flesh it out. And a lot of times I flesh it out in session. Now, if a character has bitten on an arc and they're continuing with it, I may flesh it out between sessions for sure. But this is how I riff as we play. And I'm telling you that this is me going off the cuff, okay? So the conflict step is that this creature has massacred the bat, and the players don't know this. But you know what? I'm going to have the druid roll nature check to determine. Well, I'm not going to have them roll nature check. They're going to ask me to roll nature check. I'm telling you, I can predict a lot of times with like 96% certainty what players are going to do sometimes. And I'm going to tell you right now, the druid is going to say, do I know what that is? And they're going to want to roll nature check to figure it out. And I'm going to let them. And here's what I'm going to determine. I think this is some kind of feline creature. But what? What kind of feline creature? Here's what's coming to mind. I like to use the monster manual, but a lot of times I do not go base monster manual. What is this? This is some kind of werecat. That's what's just, my gut instinct is leading me there. The silhouette of the moon, the dark, the moonlight. At night, this creature transforms into a cat of some kind. I'm thinking like a black panther. And it hunts. But by day, what is it? This is a mystery. We don't know. But I already know, because I know it's an elven girl who was cursed. And she becomes a werecat at night. And when she becomes a werecat, she becomes chaotic evil. And she literally wants to spill blood. That's all she cares about. And then when she wakes up in the morning, she regrets it. And she remembers it. And it's like a torment. This is the curse, okay? This got a lot deeper than I planned on. I just got myself in a lot deeper. I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised that I went that direction with it, because that almost becomes more the arc than the bat. That's super interesting. And sometimes that's the way it goes, friends. Sometimes you unknowingly wander right into step 4, which is what I just did, which is drama, push and pull, deepen emotional complexity through shifting trust and doubt. Now, with that being said, if you like my style of emotive game mastering, then I would highly recommend that you grab my new premium ebook, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. This ebook is really about emotional resonance and how to sew it into your games. If you want to run emotionally compelling games that your players will not be able to wait to come back to, they're going to put away their phones, they're going to be wide-eyed, they're going to be riveted. To be honest, that's been the majority of my gaming experience. Once I kind of figured out what to do, and I share my deepest, just most honest, raw thoughts, lessons, anecdotes about how to make that happen in this book. So I'm offering it right now at a special introductory price. Link is in the description. Grab that if you like my sort of emotive, emotional resonance style of game mastering and would like to deploy it at your table. I reveal all of my secrets and all of my thought processes in that book. You're not going to miss it. All right, boom. Now let's get back to the Druid class personal plot arc. Let's talk about this bat and this cursed elf girl. Okay, so now that I think about this a little bit, I think that we need a mechanism to allow the players to find this person. And, I don't know what the players are going to do, but I have a feeling that they're going to question the bat, or they're going to try to figure out how they can find this monster, because the bat doesn't know that it's a cursed elf girl. That's just what I've come up with for a plot arc. So, the bat might say something like, "I'll lead you back to my nest. Maybe you can defeat it." This is going to be hard for any druid to resist. So what if they do that? Then they're going to go back there. But it's going to be long after the scene of the crime. I'm going to describe a chilling, actually violent, terrible scene of carnage with baby bats and a mother bat tragically slain in their little nest, their happy little nest, just absolutely just demolished, ravaged by this creature. And there's going to be claw marks, and there's going to be a clear trail leading somewhere. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do story-wise, and I can't guarantee that the players are going to follow this. They may not. If they don't, I will tell you this creature will end up catching their trail at some point, and the little bat will end up being like, oh no, that's it, that's the creature, right? So we're going to come around to it, but let's just assume that the druid is going to follow the trail, okay? Because I actually think there's a really good likelihood that that's what would happen. The druid's going to follow the trail, and they're going to lead right to step number 5, development and revelation. The arc subject evolves. Let the arc subject gain depth, change, or reveal something new. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to follow this trail through the brush, through the trees, over the hill, down to a creek. And as the sun is cresting over the horizon, they're going to come up over the rise, and they're going to see a black panther laying on the ground, heaving, hyperventilating, like spazzing out, yowling in pain. And as the sun rays hit the creature, they're going to see it transform from a black panther into this wild, savage elf girl. It's gonna, literally from head to toe, transform. And once she transforms, she's going to begin sobbing and crying. She's going to get up on her hands and knees. She's going to start retching, and she's going to throw up little pieces of bat all over the ground. And then she's going to start crying, and she's going to be so caught up in her emotions, and she's literally not going to notice the druid who just came over the rock. She literally doesn't have the bandwidth for it. She's going to just lay on the ground and sob and start to slam on the ground with her fists. She's very young, for elves, maybe she's 30, 35 years old. So in elf years is very young. So she would look like, basically she would look like a very young adult elf. That's how I would run it in my games. And, but she's just, laying there on the ground, just freaked out, blood all over her because, the matter is still there, but she is transformed back into an elf because it's daytime, right? Now, at this point, I can't really say for sure what the player characters would do, but I have a feeling the druid wouldn't just walk away from the situation. They would probably approach or engage, or, there'd be this conversation. And, to be honest, I feel like this arc is difficult because it would rely so much on player action, but I'm going to basically flesh out for you what I'm thinking in my mind. And again, this is just off the cuff. This is super off the cuff. And I realize that I'm not giving you super concrete landing points here, but I want to give you points for pathways that break apart, because I feel like there's a lot of potential for drama here. And I want to flesh this out and just let you know what I'm thinking in my mind. So if the druid approaches the elf girl, first of all, if the bat is still in speak with animals mode, like if the druid still has a cast, then the bat would be saying, "She's an elf. Kill her, kill her, kill her." Like the bat wants her dead. She just massacred the bat's whole family, right? So we have this emotional attachment to the bat with the druid, if there is such a thing. But then there's this girl, and if she notices the druid coming, she's gonna shrink away. She's gonna scurry backwards until she slams into a tree, and then she's gonna cover her head with her hands, and she's just gonna start sobbing. And she puts up no defense. She doesn't attack. All she does is sob. I don't know what the player character would do. I have had players, probably the most rigid, the hardest, just the most violent players I've ever had. They might just say, "It's time for justice," whoosh, and off with their head, and that would be the end of the arc. I could see that happening, but that'd be kind of rare. Most of the players I've ever run games for would probably be like, "Okay, let's ask her what's going on," right? They would tell the bat, or just hold on a minute, just hold on, let me talk to her. That's what most players, I think, would do. And when they question her, here's what she would say. She would say, okay, so this is what comes to my mind. Drama, 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 drama. I love drama in games, okay? So this moves us into step 6. Lesson, new information. Reveal a truth that reframes everything. Boy, this is going to reframe everything. So she's going to say, I was cursed, and at night I turn into a wild animal, and I do unspeakable things. And she's just going to freak out. Okay, that's what's going to happen. That's literally what her emotional response is going to be. And she's going to be basically unable to communicate when she's hyperventilating and crying in such a manner. Okay. But I'm going to give you the details. Okay. But she's going to only reveal them through spurts of being able to communicate in the midst of her hyperventilating and being hyper freaked out, because she is hyper freaked out because this has been a blight on her life. At night, she turns into an animal that thoughtlessly massacres anything she can find. And then by day, she is a person who's trying to deal with this, and it doesn't usually go very well, right? No clothes, no property, because she runs amok all night as a panther, right? So it's going to turn out, and I'm telling you right now, this is just what I come up with. Turns out She met a wizard. Okay. She met a wizard who was a guy who was an older human man, 50 years old, and she fell in love with him. She spent a night in his wizard's tower with him. But the next morning, who might come knocking at the door but a hag? And it turns out that this wizard was this hag's lover. And upon seeing that she had been so romantically scorned and betrayed by the wizard that he would take another to his bed, she leveled a very malevolent curse upon this elven girl. And when the girl turned to the wizard, he very sheepishly looked away, and he was like, "I'm sorry," like mouthing to her, "I'm sorry." But like he was trying to preserve his relationship with the hag. He just slept with her because he thought he could get away with it. But when it didn't pan out that way, he was like, "I'm so sorry, honey," going up to the hag, giving her kisses, which is very, gross, like kissing the boils on her face. "Oh, my sweet honey," like giving her a little attention. And then this hag cursed this elf. And then as she ran away, the hag was laughing. And then the wizard was like, "I should have known better. This is why I love you. You're so powerful." Right? So this is like that's kind of the story behind it. And that happened maybe 100 miles from here. I don't know if the player characters are going to care about that. They probably will care less about that, more about just this elf girl. But here's the kicker. The elf girl is going to see the druid. I don't know if the other player characters are going to be there, but she's going to look specifically at the druid. And she's going to say, "There's something about you. I see something in your eyes." And she's going to reach up. She's going to touch their face. "There's something empathetic about your gaze. You understand me. You understand me, don't you?" Now, I don't know if the druid is going to understand her, but that's what she's going to say. And hence, this is the plot arc for the druid. This is a personal plot arc for the druid. Now, this is where we go into step 7, emotional attachment reinforcement. Bring the bond back to center stage, but now matured or at risk. And here's what I'm going to say, man. The bat is going to be telling the druid, "Kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her." And the bat's going to freak out because she just killed the bat's whole family. But the druid is probably going to realize she's kind of a victim of the circumstances, right? Actually a victim because the wizard never told her he was dating a hag who was going to curse her. So there's a lot of moral gray here. And I like that. I like to bring that into games. And then we have step 8, climatic conflict moment of truth. And I'm going to be really honest right now. I don't know what that will be. That might be the player characters deciding to kill her and avenge the bat's family. That might mean they try to talk the little bat companion and her into being friends. I'm going to kind of push for this bat to be like a little animal companion for the druid. Like, I think that'd be a really cool thing. That's almost separate from the girl, other than that they have this wild emotional entanglement. There is also a possibility that they want to go after the hag or go after the wizard, in which case the elf girl would gladly oblige because they have ruined her life. Literally ruined it. I don't know how long it's been since this curse was done, but I'm thinking like a month. So her life has been an absolute wreck for a month. Everything is gone. Like her whole life has been obliterated by this curse. So, maybe they can find a way to remove it, or maybe they can go hunt them down, but that leads to the climactic conflict moment of truth. And that, my friends, is what I would do for off the top of my head, off the cuff, for a druid, a personal druid class-specific personal plot arc. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Let me know if you agree or what you do differently. Let me know if you enjoy this kind of video. I'm doing all the classes, so I guess if you don't enjoy it, then tough. We're just gonna have a bunch of videos with no views, I guess, because I already committed to it. But anyway, there you go. There you have it. Druid class arc. I hope you liked it. I'm the GM Philosopher. Make sure you smash the subscribe button and come back for more videos. Empowering game masters to run better games is our mission here. I will see you awesome people on the next one.